What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today, we're going to be chatting with Shawn Coleman of Locked On Grizzlies, as the Grizzlies are now in third place in the Western Conference, finding themselves amongst the other Western elite, the Suns, the Warriors, the Jazz. Are the Grizzlies truly contenders this season? Just how good has Ja Morant been, and what is the growth and development of Desmond Bane looking like? And we're going to get there in just one moment after a quick message from our friends over at betonline.ag, because BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022, a new year and a new updated desktop and mobile website where if you sign up today using promo code LOCKEDON, you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your very first deposit. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for a 50% welcome bonus on your very first deposit. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC, even your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Joining us now is the most wholesome host on the Locked On Network, Shawn Coleman of Locked On Grizzlies. Maybe I have to revoke this title for you, Shawn, because a peek behind the curtain as Shawn joins our recording software program, he doesn't come in with the name Shawn Coleman. He comes in with the name Zaire Williams greater than Jalen Green is how he popped into the chat room, coming in with the heat. Shawn, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. We've got Zaire Williams. Y'all have Jalen Green, counted as another victory when it comes to the Southwest Division. Jackson, always a pleasure. Hope you've been good. Happy New Year. Thanks for having me, sir.
Absolutely a pleasure to be able to talk hoops with you, even when you're throwing slander towards the Houston Rockets. But you're here to talk Memphis Grizzlies basketball. And the Grizzlies are fresh off the heels of the longest win streak in franchise history, unfortunately being stopped at 11 games in a row with some really impressive wins over the Suns, the Nets, the Warriors. That one was a really big one. And they're currently sitting at third place in the Western Conference. Shawn, it feels like in the linear progression of rebuilding, it feels like the Grizzlies may have skipped a step there, because usually you go from being that pesky like play-in like 8th seed team to being like a mid-tier playoff team, and then to being in like the upper echelon, the elite of the conference. But the Grizzlies find themselves there alongside the likes of the Suns, the Warriors, and the Jazz. It's been a really impressive run this season for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it is, you're correct. You typically, that's the thing that's made this Grizzlies rebuild so much fun is that they started off at a higher point 2.5 years ago to start the 1920 season, higher than many thought. They were in the playoff conversation, and last year they made the playoffs. This year they're now looking like they're going to get home court. And the thing about it is that it's not like last year, for instance. A lot went in their favor outside of their control, right? But the thing about it is that this year, yes, that still has happened. But the one thing that the Grizzlies are doing, Jackson, is they're just consistently playing at a high level. I would say right now that the Grizzlies may have one of the highest floors consistently of any team in the NBA. They're playing good defense. Ja Morant is leading the offense with a, in my opinion, all NBA type season. And the Grizzlies are doing well at winning the game through getting more possessions than their opponents, turning defense into offense, getting offensive possessions, so on and so forth. So it's been exciting to see. But the even more exciting thing for me is that Dillon Brooks is out. He's been out for half the season so far, and he's going to be out for another month with his injury. We've had Jaren Jackson Jr., who really hasn't got his shooting stroke going. DeAnthony Melton's taken a step back. We haven't seen the best version of this Grizzlies team as of yet. But yet, the version that we are seeing is consistently getting the job done no matter who the opponent is. And that just leads you to believe, I don't think they're a contender this year, but it puts them in a great spot to eventually get there and be there for a long time.
You mentioned you can't talk about this Grizzlies team without mentioning Ja Morant's name. And he, Shawn, when I get the chance to watch Ja play, he plays with such a level of poise and control to his game, understanding when he needs to take over, but also understanding how and when to trust his teammates to allow them to do their thing as well. at this point, Shawn, it feels like more so of a win and not an if when we're going to see Ja Morant one day hoisting an MVP trophy over his head. I'm that high on him. I have been for a long time. I think he's one of the supreme talents and stars in this league. What has it been like to watch his growth though this season? Because he's still just in his third year and he continues to have these, these growing moments, and you see the jump that he's made from this year, or last year, I should say, to this year. And it's been really impressive.
It's finally people realizing that, yes, the shot, shot from distance and his defense are still going to consistently be works in progress. But people through much of last year had the opinion that that's what's going to keep Ja Morant from even being a star. That's what's going to put Ja Morant kind of in the upper echelon of the mid-level point guards, or it's going to keep him from being truly elite. That's not the case at all. Never has been, in my opinion. And I think people are realizing this year, yes, the shot is improved. The defense can still be a weakness at times. But the thing that's always been there, Jackson, with Ja Morant is that there is elite to his game. It's his ability to get to the rim. It's his ability to create for his teammates. His ability to stay consistent. But it's also his mindset that he's going to get the job done. Every single time he's on the court, he feels he's the best player out there, and he's showing it consistently night in and night out. And now you have a player leading the NBA in third quarter scoring, second in the NBA during clutch situations when it comes to scoring. He's stepping up at the most important times of the game. So the overall progression of his game with his shot and his defense is certainly grand, but the ability for him to consistently deliver no matter who the opponent is at the most important times is what is standing out, along with the persona and the brand.
Are you able to look back at that gap that he missed of time for the season for the Grizzlies and kind of look back with a new perspective on it, and kind of view it as something that may have in the moment not necessarily been viewed as a positive? Obviously missing your star player is never great, but then to look at how this Grizzlies team progressed through that period without him, learning to win without your star player on the floor, and to be able to look back at that and say, you know what, that was not necessarily a needed experience for this Grizzlies team, but something that they absolutely took and built upon. And now you've got Ja back, you're kind of clicking on all cylinders. And like you said, we haven't even seen the best version yet of this Grizzlies team.
Yeah, what it put a bunch of players in, when it comes to Jaren and Bane, all the way down to John Conchar, Killian Tilly, and others who had to step up. These players were put in a position where there was no if. It was you've got to. Like, there was no option to where you cannot, like, if you fail, it's okay because you've got Ja. In this situation, we're going to ask you to step up and we're going to need for you to deliver. And that's exactly what they did. I don't think it's any coincidence that Ja going out is when Bane became one of the best shooters in the NBA with the numbers to back it up. Jaren became one of the best interior defenders in the NBA with the numbers to back it up. They had to step up and be the go-to guys, be the main reasons why the Grizzlies were going to win. And that's what they've been able to do. And it's been great to see, though Jaren has struggled a bit offensively, it's been great to see that they've continued in those roles, even with Ja back. Dylan did the same. Hopefully we'll get him back. But for guys up and down the roster, and that's the thing that stands out about the Grizzlies, from 1 through 15, they stepped up, but not only that, they delivered, and they had the confidence of knowing that they can do it with how consistently they did it with Ja out.
I think it really does speak levels, Shawn, to what Taylor Jenkins has really built there in Memphis, because you have guys up and down the. I don't think it's a stretch to say that of across any other team in the league, I think the Grizzlies might be one of, if not the deepest team in the league, with just players they can plug in and get production out of on a nightly basis. And that is a testament to what Taylor Jenkins has built there.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is because he put so much trust, he gained so much trust, gives these players so much reason to trust him because of how much confidence they have in him. But Jackson, what it comes down to now is just the evidence that's there, that if a player gives Taylor Jenkins the keys to drive, he's going to lead them into a direction that's going to take them to higher heights than they had before in their career. Up and down the roster, from Ja jumping up to all NBA level, Desmond become one of the better shooters in the league, Jaren becoming all defense, all the way down to John Conchar, proving that he could be a part of a playoff rotation or be a main guy off the bench. Everyone on this roster has either regained or experienced recently a better version of themselves than they thought they would be, either before they came to Memphis or the many had of them before they came to the NBA. And that's what stood out. It's the development. I would put the Grizzlies' development ability up there with anybody in the league. And it's a testament to how organized and how special Taylor Jenkins is at gaining the trust of his players, but also being able to put them in a great position to not only succeed, but consistently be the best version of themselves.
Away from the floor, Shawn, I think the Grizzlies had one of, if not potentially one of the best like social promotions that I've ever seen, where they went out and said, you know what? If you have an old jersey of another team's player, you can bring that in and exchange it for a brand new, fresh replica jersey of Ja Morant or Jaren Jackson Jr. and a pair of tickets to an upcoming Grizzlies game. That was just incredible to see. What was your reaction to that promotion when they dropped that recently?
Oh, it was outstanding, and I can't confirm this, but I do think it's correct. I think that the jerseys that they were able to exchange the most, I think one on that list was James Harden. Second on that list was Chris Paul during his Rockets tenure. Third on that list was Jalen Green. It was just amazing, and the fourth one on that list was Gary Bird. It was crazy, just the level of jerseys. I'm kidding. It was great, and that's the thing that stands out. Memphis is hitting on every single level. Every single level. On the business side, Devin Walker, who does the social media for the Grizzlies, he does not miss. There is just crazy amounts. There are levels to success. And why it's so important, Jackson, is because you've got a team on the Grizzlies right now who put so much effort into being the best that they can be on the court, but they keep up with what's going on off the court. They want for their brands to be represented in the best way possible. They want to know that they're getting the recognition that they deserve. Memphis does such a good job, from the franchise to the city. Everybody involved does such a good job of making sure that that happens. And that is especially important when we've got talents like we've never had before in Jaren Jackson Jr., Ja Morant, and the rest. Everything about the Grizzlies right now is firing on all cylinders. Another great promotion, great idea just in general. I mean, it's better than Houston's ever done when it comes to promotions, in my opinion. So.
You know who else is firing on all cylinders? It's Shawn Coleman
That's
of
correct.
Locked On Grizzlies. You've got to go check out Locked On Grizzlies if you haven't done so yet. You can follow. You should also follow the Grizzlies social media team, because the Grizzly. I follow very few other like team accounts besides the Rockets. Keeping up with the teams, obviously, but as far as direct actual team accounts, and the Grizzlies is one of them, because their social media game is absolutely on point, just like yours, Shawn, where people can follow you at StatsSAC on Twitter. Appreciate you stopping by Locked On NBA with me, Shawn.
Hey, Jackson, it's always a pleasure. Hope we can do it again soon. Great to get to talk to you again. Go Grizzlies. And, by the way, I will say this. I did find a new clinic here in Memphis. If your neck gets sore looking up them standings over the next several years, just let me know. I'll make sure to get you to a good physical therapist to take care of that crick in that neck, okay? All right.
Appreciate it, Shawn. Thank you so much.